What's up, everyone? I'm here. We got a great guest today. We got Mr. Ryan Peters. He was coaching up at Noble High School, powerhouse up in Maine, and now he's taking on a recent role as a graduate assistant at his alma mater, Springfield College. Ryan, how we doing?
It's going good. Busy summer up in Maine. My parents actually own a couple of candy stores, Perkins Cove Candies, if anyone's ever been in southern Maine, Wells, Algonquin area. So I work a lot during the summer.
Gotcha. So, yeah, I mentioned, you coached at Noble past a couple years. You're a Maine guy? You're from Maine?
Yeah, so it's actually I've had a long wrestling journey, but yeah, I'm from Maine. From Wells, live in Wells now, but wrestled for Timberlane Regional High School, as a lot of people know. And funny enough, I actually made my way over to Noble. I was reffing because there was no refs up here right after COVID, and I did a regional meet, but then in your first year, you can't do like states. So I was at states just watching, and a call happened in a third and fourth place match all states. And I knew the call right away, like where it was in the book, to prove that it was the right call. So I ran over to Kevin and I was like, it's on page 37. That's the top left picture.
Literally pulled out the book.
Yep, and so he pulled out the book, went to page 37, and in the top left corner was the picture of the takedown his kid should have had, and the kid ended up winning and going to New England's. So that was the end of my reffing career.
Yeah. And then, what drew you into coaching then?
That's a great question. So my college wrestling career didn't necessarily go how I wanted it to go. When I was 10 years old, I'll never forget, it was the 2006 NCAAs. Joe Dubuque wrestled Troy Nickerson. That's like my favorite NCAA finals match ever, just because that's like the first one I really remember like watching and remembering everything. And so from then on, I was like, well, I want to wrestle Division I. And everything I did was to get to that goal, which when you're from Maine, obviously, that we aren't a wrestling state. We're trying to get better as a state and become more well-known as a wrestling state. But I ended up at Buffalo, and then a couple of injuries led me to Springfield.
Gotcha. And when you first kind of had that goal of wrestling D1 for Buffalo, what was that like?
So I started, I feel like a lot of people say they want to wrestle Division I. I kind of started to like seriously realize I could wrestle Division I. I was in like 8th grade, and I started placing at like the middle school Super 32s. And I was like, well,
okay, I'm not bad.
Probably keep doing this. And I did a little different than I feel like back when I wrestled a little bit. It was like you went to one club and everyone kind of wrestled for like your club. And I went to Northeast Elite, I went to Smitty's, I went to Doughboy, I just wanted to wrestle. If you were really good and you were from New England, I wanted to be able to wrestle with you, because that's what all the other states were doing. Like when I would go to Rob Waller's in Pennsylvania, like there was people from everywhere just wrestling each other to get better. So I ended up at Doughboy, and Matt Daney was a Buffalo guy and kind of introduced me to that. And I couldn't thank Matt enough. Matt is awesome. He's a great coach. And my senior year of high school, I signed right before like my senior year started. I won Journeyman, the Fall Classic, and then was a round away from placing at Super 32, which stunk. But then our first like little quad meet of the season, my senior year after winning New England's my junior year. I tore my ACL, MCL, LCL, completely blew out my knee. Tried to figure out a way to wrestle through it. Could not wrestle because we had Beast of the East coming up like shortly after that. And I was like, well, I can place a Beast of the East on one leg here. Like, I'm going to get a good seed. I can find a way to place. And I was like drilling in the corner of the room and just crying. It hurt so bad. And Barry Chu finally came up to me and was like, it's not going to work. And I was like, no, this is impossible. So got the ACL surgery, but I was already signed to Buffalo before that. So it didn't change really anything besides like not wrestling my senior year. It was a full 6 months of rehab because I mean, even from now until when I had that one in 2016, it's like 3 or 4 months and you're back from an ACL. It's crazy how much better like the surgeries are now.
Yeah. No, my brother actually tore his ACL like 2 years ago. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean there.
Yeah.
And so what led you to decide that Springfield was the best fit for you when it was all said and done at Buffalo?
So unfortunately, my freshman year at Buffalo went great. Had some good wins. Some not great losses, like most freshmen do their freshman year of college. My sophomore year, I was starting again, and we wrestled Cal State Bakersfield at home first duel, and I remember the first shot of the match. It was literally like 5 seconds in. The guy shot right on my right leg, and I went to scramble, and I was like, well, this hurts really bad. And yeah, my knee was toast again. So that was probably one of the toughest moments in my life because it's like I got to do this all over again. And I kind of decided, I was like, I don't know if I want to do that all over again. Like I could function better with this one. I could actually still I didn't need the surgery. They said I could kind of Spencer Lee it and you could survive, but your knee is you're blown out again. So I decided that I was like, I think I'm just gonna be done. I don't know what else I have left to give here. And so you do this whole compliance process when you try to transfer. And this was 2016, so I want to say it was the second year of the portal. So they were like, hey, do you want to go into the transfer portal? And I'm like, whatever gets me out of this meeting the fastest. Yeah, in the transfer portal. Yeah, okay. And then I want to say 1 or 2 days went by, and then I started getting phone calls, and I'm like, how are these people how do these people know what's going on in my life right now? And they're like, oh, you're in the transfer portal. And I'm like, all right, I guess, thanks for calling. And then Jay was a Timberlane guy himself. So I've known Jay since I was 14 years old, and he finally gave me, not finally, but he gave me a call, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is what I want to do anymore. And he was like, well, just stop in, because on my way drive back from Buffalo, I was living in a house with teammates, so I packed up all my stuff, and he's like, just stop in on your way home. I'm like, all right. So I stopped in, and I was like, oh man, I'm coming here.
Yeah.
Because I had friends on the team, Nick DeRosa, Tyler Fitzpatrick. Tyler Fitzpatrick coaches at Timberlane now, but me and him wrestled together in high school. We were best friends. He's still one of my best friends. I actually have his wedding coming up here shortly, so I'm excited for that. But I ended up at Springfield because that felt like home. I mean, I got there and I was coming from a school that has 30,000 kids at it to a school that isn't as big, and you can know people and meet the faculty and they actually know your name. Not that there's anything wrong with that at a big school, it's just totally different. So I loved it right away. And I was only there like 4 or 5 hours, and I got in on the process, and then I actually ended up being able to wrestle the next semester. So I came right in and wrestled the next semester.
There were no what's the word? No restrictions on you from
No
transferring?
restrictions on me for transferring as long because back then
Yeah, it was a different time.
still some different rules, but since it was Division 1 to Division 3, there was no restrictions. That back then it was Division 1 to Division 1, and you were toast for the rest of the year. Yeah.
Yeah. And in your eyes, how did you finish out your college career?
So I wrestled the rest of that season up at 149 because I thought I was a 49 pounder, which wasn't a 49 pounder. I wanted to be, just wasn't. And that summer I met with Jay and I was like, yeah, I'm going to come back and go 41. And he's like, probably not making 141 right now. I was like, no, I can make it. And I showed up back to school weighing like 149. I lost all the, what I thought was retirement weight, and I was a 41. But what a lot of people don't know is I actually led left leg that whole year. Didn't get my knee fixed, led left leg. So made it hard I had to relearn how to shoot everything lefty, which now has been awesome because I can just shoot with both legs. So I wrestled that whole season lefty, and it was like a pretty good year. I got to the region, lost to Ferendi from JWU. He was really tough. And then I had Joseph Rossetti from Williams for third and fourth to go to nationals that year. And I had already wrestled him and beat him. And he wrestled absolutely fantastic and just beat me for third and fourth that match. Like, he just wrestled better. That's the way it goes sometimes, and especially in wrestling. I think that's the one thing that is definitely different from a lot of the other sports is you can have like a bad quarter in basketball and be down like 20, and there's so much time like to come back. If you have a bad period in wrestling, especially now with the new scoring, it can make it pretty tough to.
Dude, think about a bad period could be the end of the match,
Yeah.
Bad
So
period could mean getting caught in your back.
But yeah, that next season, I wrestled for most of the year again, and I actually don't have labrums in my shoulders either. So either one. So I wrestled most of that year, but it got to a point where I couldn't lift my arms up, and I was still trying to wrestle. And I finally just met him with Jay, and I was like, this isn't what is best for the team, because that was the one thing Timberlane preaches, and I know they still do, is you have to do what's best for the team. If that means one guy's got to go down, one guy's got to go up, and you don't want to, that's too bad. Like, you have to do what's best for the team. It's as much of an individual sport as it's a team sport. So
yeah, 100%. So around what year was it that you made the transition from wrestler to ref?
Oh, good question. So I've been at Timberlane 2 years. So I was working here at Wells right after I graduated. So it would have been like 2021. And I actually love reffing. It's awesome. I think reffing is really fun, actually. I mean, but yeah, like I said, when that situation happened over at All States, and I was like, I have so much to give back here, knowledge-wise, because I've been very fortunate due to my father. I've gotten to meet a lot of people. I actually have a pretty cool picture if I can figure out technology enough to whip up later. I was able to wrestle on some teams in middle school that were, I think there was 20 kids on a middle school team or whatever. 18 of us went Division 1.
Wow. That's absolutely insane.
And my dad is a maniac, like a true maniac. We used to go down on Saturdays on the weekend to Apex to wrestle with Nick Siriano. We'd drive 6 hours or whatever it is down there, practice twice, and drive back. So, and that was plus doing the 5 nights a week at the barn or 5 night fights, 5 nights a week at Doughboy. So, yeah, I would never be where I am without him. So I guess this is a shout out to him too, because I mean, he made it so I can meet and network with a lot of people. So, because now I talked to Jason Nolf a little bit, Josh Shields, and guys like that still to this day from when I went to Wallers. And I mean, it's the kind of sometimes some of the people that I've been able to interact with and wrestle with for all those years. So, but yeah, and I guess the moral of the story is that's what led me to, I ended up meeting up, with Kevin Gray and decided that I can coach, because I was working here while I was not coaching and reffing, and then I ended up getting a job over at Noble, coaching at Noble, and I made the whole switch kind of at the same time there.
So what was your position at Noble? Was it just like assistant, like there's the head coach and then just like the assistant coaches?
Yeah, we have the head coach, Kevin Gray, and then we have the assistant coaches, John Badger and Pete Bronder. Pete was a really good high school wrestler, so was John. And then this year we added, I definitely want to make sure to shout out Kaylee Longley. She's like our girls coach. I mean, we don't win Englands without Kaylee Longley. So she's incredible.
It really is fitting, I think, like Noble to like be one of the teams that has a dominant girls team, because Noble has always been this powerhouse in Maine. So it just makes sense for the girls to do the same thing that the boys have been doing for so long.
Yeah, and the girls are tough.
Yeah, oh yeah. So, what was it like walking into the room that first day, as a coach?
So the only I have the club experiences, and then I have my Timberlane wrestling practices and high school experiences. And I had to make sure to not think that it was going to be like that, because the times have changed. I mean, it used to just be like kind of grind. And not that we don't grind, because our practices are really, really, really hard. And we let everyone know before the season starts that they're going to be really, really hard, because we have to catch up to everyone else, right? Like, we are behind the other states. So the only way to catch up is to do more. So we do more. Yeah. And I think you interviewed Caden Dustin, and
I was literally thinking, he says that's something our coaches say: we do more, we do better, like stuff like that.
Yeah, the silly saying that I kind of started was like, we got to try harder. Like, get on a double. Sometimes it's people like to go over like 400,000 finishes, and they're like, oh, do this way, do this way. It's like, the other guy's trying to win. Like, just drive through the double. Like sometimes that's what it comes down to. So, but I was fortunate. I mean, not many people in their first coaching job have like a really good team. I mean, our team is really good. Derek Cody was really good, wrestles for USM now. So I was fortunate enough to come in and have really good guys on the team. Brady Allette's really good, and we have really good younger guys coming up. Our middle school and youth is incredible. Our middle school team this year had, I want to say 45 guys on it, and then a few girls. Wow. So, and our youth is huge. I want to say we had to cap it at 80. So
you had to put a cap on it. That's how big it is.
Yeah, because I mean, we have great middle school and youth coaches, but like you can only get so many at some point. So yeah, and space wise, we have as much. The MPA obviously has different rules. They like people to do 3 different sports, which I think is awesome too. So like we can't coach during a chunk of the year there, which I mean it's fine, because a lot of our guys, as you said, Caden plays football. Like pretty much, I want to say everyone on our team plays multiple sports, which is awesome. Because if your goal isn't to go Division I, play different sports. Like, I mean, even if your goal is to go Division I, you can play different sports. But I mean, play different sports. Like, we wrestle enough during the season, and then during the summer they're practicing now, and I still make it over there when I can, but I'm busy. So, but yeah, I think it's great that people play different sports.
Yeah.
Feel good to be an athlete.
Yeah, there's always the common wrestling football player. It's easy. People make a comparison all the time, and hey, it's true.
Yeah, definitely. Because like a great example of it is our heavyweight. People don't know about him yet. They're gonna know about him. Sean Leach. He has been a heavyweight now for 2 years. He's been wrestling, I think, since middle school, but he was a freshman at heavyweight. That's really hard. And he's finally grown into his body. He's gonna be a problem coming up here. So I could wrestle with him a little bit the last couple years. I can't wrestle him anymore. So he's going to be a problem.
That's funny. So, coaching in Maine, especially, at Noble, a team that travels a lot. What's that like? Is that reminiscent of your Timberlane days?
Yeah, I mean, it is funny to talk to some people that are outside of like wrestling. Like if you talk to just an average high school Maine athlete, and you're like, yeah, we go to New York 3 times. We go to Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. We try to hit everywhere and see the best teams. That's why we've started inviting these teams to our tournament. Like
the Noble Invitational was without a doubt one of the top tournaments last year.
Yes, and we added Xavier. Xavier is going to be coming this year, so it's going to be even tougher.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was no different. I just got van certified. They were like, "You're good to drive the van, right?" I'm like, I've been doing this since I was like 10 years old, driving these trips. So that was part of like the deal, I guess. But yeah, they just like kind of don't understand. They're like, well, why would you want to wrestle a New York team? It won't help your seating for states. And it's like,
yeah, they don't get it.
Yeah, well, if anything, that means we're going to be unseated at regionals, and then you're going to have us first round. So that's a problem for you. So, yeah. But we love going to the big tournaments, and the guys love it too, because it just is a reminder of sometimes, like, if you get in that wrestling lesser guys, and then you have to wrestle a better guy, it's hard to get back to that level. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Eastern States is one that we love going to, and I'm hoping maybe Beast of the East in the future, but that one's a little tougher just because of the timing, and a lot of our guys are coming off like football or whatever, and it's like right at the beginning of December there. So I would rather have longer than like a month of practice than to go to Beast of the East, because that's kind of a different animal. Eastern States is really, really tough, but Beast of the East is a different animal. Exactly. So, but yeah, our guys and girls, because our girls can go to Eastern States too, which is awesome, because Maine is doing a great job with the girls, but it's still just hard. Like the tournaments is hard because there's a lot of girls up north and then a lot of us in the south, and then trying to find like a nice meeting place in between is hard sometimes. And it makes sense. A lot of schools don't have like a full-time head girls coach yet. I mean, it's brand new, in that sense. So Noble is going to be hiring, Kaylee Longley as like a head girls coach. So that's great, because like I said, we don't win New England's without Kaylee Longley this year. So she is a wizard. A funny story about Kaylee too, though, is I was like a small guy, because I repeated the 8th grade because I was small. I mean, I finally started getting bigger, but even then I was wrestling like 95 my 8th grade year. So I was like, I mean, are we going to be big enough? And whenever we were going places like the Surianos, everyone was like, you haven't stayed back yet? They all stayed back by the time they're in 6th grade. That was like the age that they tried to stay back by. And I used to go over and wrestle at Southern Maine Trappers, which was in Marshwood at the time. And Kaylee was like in high school, and she used to kick the crap out of me. She was a 106 pounder, but she used to just kick the crap out of me. So when I finally saw her in the stands one day at the meet, those guys had already brought up bringing her back, but I went up and I was like, "Will you please just come help us?" Need all that. So, but she's awesome.
Yeah. What was the girls team like from the start of the season? Like, did you guys know that like they'd be in contention for like best in New England?
So we knew that like the girls we had were really good, but it's hard to tell like the other teams. Like we heard a lot about Situate and then like Lowell. We just didn't realize if they had 10 girls and they all qualified, we knew it was going to be tough for us because we still only had 6 girls this year. Mm-hmm. So we knew it was going to be tough but then when we kind of saw Lowell at the Timberlane, they had a girls tournament, we were like, wait, man, some of these teams, they have like the same amount of girls as us. I think we're in pretty good shape because we knew, that all the girls we had were good. So
the quality
once we saw that, we definitely knew that they were going to wrestle really well. We just didn't know how they would do as a team, even if we had 3 champs. Like if some other team had 10 placers, well, then it was going to be tough because we didn't have 10 girls. So, but then once we kind of saw that some of the better teams had kind of the same amount of numbers as us, we were like, oh, we're probably gonna win this. So
yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. Which, fun fact, no Maine team in any sport had won a New England team title since 1960.
Wow.
First one since 1960.
You know who it was?
It was actually Sanford, Maine. The boys wrestling team won New England's in 1960. So, yeah. That was, we didn't, to be honest, even know that until after we had won. And we were like, okay. So, yeah, we got to keep things rolling up here. But, yeah, the girls are in good shape. But I would say the biggest juggling is for, like, we had a couple of girls, Hannah and Delaney. They wrestle boys and girls. We give them the option. If they don't want to, they do not have to. Totally understand. But if they do, like Hannah, she wants to win boys states and girls states if she can. If she's our best 106 pounder, she's our best 106 pounder, and she was our best 106 pounder this year by a lot. So,
she wants to be the next Maddie Ripley, of Maine.
She's certainly on her way.
But yeah, definitely, definitely on the right path. So, what did an average practice look like at Noble?
So it depends what day of the week it is and what we got coming up. So we actually have so many guys on the team. I think we had right around, by the end in total, between guys and girls, like 50. So we do 2 practices. At the beginning, we do one to kind of let the newer guys and girls see, like, hey, this is how we practice. Mm-hmm. This is how things work. And then once we kind of start figuring out, like, okay, these are probably going to be the guys, and these are like guys that are really close, we split the practice, and then we do 2 separate practices. So we're there from about like 3:30 every day till 7:30 practicing. And
so you basically almost 2-a-days.
Yeah, the coaches do. Yeah.
Yeah, for the coaches.
Yeah, the coaches.
Do any of the kids ever and any of the new kids ever be like, I'd really like this?
We'll let guys stay, and then sometimes it'll work out to where, like, if a person that we had matched them up with for the day isn't there, we'll need someone to kind of stay, because I wrestle every day.
Yeah.
I'm in there every single day. because I consider myself like a wrestling savant. I watch, if there's a match on the internet, I will watch it. So I will watch it, and then if whatever we got coming up style wise, I'm that guy for the week. So I was fortunate enough in high school to have coaches that would do that for me. And all we had to worry about when I was in high school was wrestling. Like, we didn't have to worry about anything except for like make the weight, wrestle, and wrestle the best you can. That's kind of my coaching philosophy. I would never want anybody to graduate, a 4-year JV guy, girl, 4-year, 4-time state champ, to graduate and be like, if my coach had done this, then that would have been the difference. Well, we give all of our time. I mean, we do as much as we possibly can to put them in the best spot to hopefully win. If they don't win, it's the name of the game. It's the way it goes. Not very many people, right? 14 guys and then 14 girls at the end of the year, they get to win. So not very many people get to win at the end. So
Yeah.
that was kind of, I guess, the biggest learning curve was, oh wow, because my freshman year at Timberlane, I think we had 12 in the state finals. So it was like that the first time I never lost an in-state dual meet. And then we've lost my first year, we lost to Massabesic, and I was like, so this is what this feels like. This is not fun. But yeah, so those have probably been the biggest, I would say, like learning curves, was just like figuring out how to get the guys and girls to bounce back from stuff like that, because when I was in high school, we didn't lose. So that was different.
Gotcha. And what would you say was your your favorite, most memorable moment from Noble?
That's a really good question, because I have a lot of them. But probably for the girls, Hannah being able to win girls New England's this year was incredible, because Samantha Bertini is really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
And we knew she was really, 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 really good. And we didn't know how that was going to go. Under no circumstance did we think that was like how it was going to go. Hannah really picked a great time to wrestle her best match ever. But because it was a long year for her, I mean, it's hard because it's 106 for the boys, so she's up, and then she's got to get down to 100 for the girls. So it's a lot. It's not easy for her, and she's not a complainer. So like,
she don't want to back down.
No. So, but for the boys, having 3 New England placers last year, or so not last year, 2 years ago, Noble's never had 3. That was awesome. Just because I hadn't been to New England's. I mean, that was my first year at New England's as a coach, which that's something that I thank Kevin Gray for all the time, is most coaches, like, they just hope to get a guy someday they can go to New England's and like have a placer.
Yeah.
And in my first year, to be able to coach New England matches and
mean stuff.
Yeah, watch those guys do what they do, because that's what we do every day. We still preach, which might change a little bit. Like, we still preach, score points until the ref tells you to stop. Just keep scoring, because when people stop trying to score, that most of the time, that's when something starts going wrong. When you stop trying to score, because how many times in practice do you practice like, hey, don't score? Like, you never practice in practice really, hey, just don't score. I mean, you do once you get to the higher levels, but in high school, just keep scoring. and then
As
the
many
match will
points.
be over, and the guy that has more points will win. So that's kind of how we teach. But with the 3-point takedown, can't give up free points anymore. So everyone should be doing more defense. If anyone wants a coaching tip from today, do more defense, because if you give up takedowns now, you're probably in trouble. So
Yeah.
do more defense.
Yeah, nowadays, come fall, that gap is going to be a lot wider, you know. So now kind of moving on to you and taking the position as graduate assistant for Springfield. How did that come about?
So this was honestly the toughest decision I've ever had to make in my life. Deciding college was easier. Uh, so I want to, at some point in time here, be an athletic director. Director of operations is kind of my end goal of like what I want to do career wise. And you kind of need a master's. So I was looking around at a couple of jobs that were near here so I could do both still. And no dice. Not everything was the same. I did a few interviews and it was a great candidate, but you don't have the experience and you don't have the education. So I kind of started looking at different options, and I called Jay because he's my guy. I have a question about anything, and this goes for anyone that graduates from Springfield wrestling, or if you have Jay in class, because he's a teacher there too. He has his doctorate. If you just call him and ask him, it could be like the craziest question. He'll know the answer and help you. And if he doesn't, he'll help you find the answer. But I kind of called him and I told him, I was like, just so you know, first, I'm going to start looking at different jobs here to try and get my master's. And I had a couple of people call and I was doing the applications there, and Jay called me back like 2 days later and he's like, hey, I have one at Springfield. Would you be interested? And I was like, let me think about it. And I hung up and I literally walked inside from my car into the weight room of the high school I run the weight room after school. And I went, guys, give me 1 sec. And I walked into our B gym and I called him back and I was like, I don't know what I was like pretending to do here. Yeah, let's do it. So, I'm in the athletic leadership program now. It's a 2-year program. It's a combination of advanced coaching and athletic administration, so I can do both. And then
Awesome. That's exactly what you want to do.
Literally exactly what I want to do. So it couldn't have worked out any better, and it would have been the place. If I could have picked a place to do it at, it would have been the place I would have picked to do it at.
Awesome. So everything worked out, comes full circle, kind of, you know?
It does.
Yeah. So how do you anticipate the transition from coaching high school to college is going to be?
I actually think it's going to be better for me. I know so much technique, and high school, you kind of, for the first month, right, is kind of basic technique, which, not that I'm not good at teaching basic technique, but kind of anybody can not do that, especially with the people that they already have at Noble. Kevin, John, and Pete, they're incredible, because like Kevin Gray wrestled Division I. He was a match away from qualifying for nationals. Like he knows a lot. So, and like Pete Bronder is incredible, and John Badger's the heavyweight guy. He's incredible. So I talked with them too, and this is the fastest way for me to hopefully be able to, in an ideal world, I'd be able to come back and be an athletic director at Noble and
Really?
keep growing. In an ideal world, the athletic director, Aaron Moore, we have now is great. But I mean, you just
You
you
know, who
don't know
knows down the
people's
line
lives.
what happened?
Yeah, people's lives change. It's 2 years away. I mean, not that that's long, but I am very, very excited to. There's more, not rules, but like with the push outs and the riding time,
Hmm.
I'm really good at not controlling stuff like that, but understanding where we are in a match and what needs to get done. And like I said, I love watching film. I love watching wrestling. So I think that I'm really, really excited to go back. And I'm I think by the time I'm done in 2 years, the guys will be excited that I was there too.
Yeah. So, would you say you had to change your natural coaching style to adapt more to Noble than you will for Springfield? Because there's that natural college, high school skill gap.
Hmm. Yeah, you just have to understand. It's coming to an understanding of like, yeah, most people haven't been wrestling since they were 5 years old, like I was. Like most people haven't been doing that. So obviously, we're not going to go over crazy techniques with those guys. It's going to be like just sweep singles, a high crotch, double leg. So I'm excited to work. I mean, and not that we don't do high level technique, because we do, and we did like at Noble, but it's more of like every single guy in the room you're going to be able to teach high level technique to. So that's right up my alley.
Gotcha. And are there any like specific aspects or any like wrestlers you're excited to get on the mat with that Springfield?
Um, Not necessarily. So I've been going down, and I mean, if I, I like I said, I practice a lot still, so I will be living in the room there. So if guys want to be in the room, I'll be in the room, and I know most of the team still because I've still been following the New England region, the Northeast region of wrestling since I've left. So I still know all of who the other teams have and who we have. And I've actually lost like a lot of weight. I weigh like 145 pounds now. So it's
Wow.
different. I work with like the 125s to 149s ish. I mean, I'll work with the bigger guys too, but I can wrestle more with those lighter guys. I've been, yeah, going down to Doughboy and wrestling with the Fargo teams on guys going to Fargo and girls going to Fargo on Monday and Wednesdays here. I'm actually doing that tonight still because they leave soon. So,
Yeah, this weekend, right?
yep, girls leave even a little sooner, I think. Actually,
What is girls the like?
girls is first now. Yeah, I like that they switch it up out there too because,
Yeah, it was Greco first before, right?
yeah, it used to be Greco and then it was like freestyle and the girls were, it's like,
I think, yeah, Greco should be in the middle, I think.
yeah, whatever. Just even if they just keep changing it, I think that that's fine.
Yeah.
Like as long as, yeah, doing it. Yeah, I think more people do the freestyle. So whatever, maybe Greco. Yeah, I don't know, but I've been wrestling with a few of the guys on the team already, so I've been able to start meeting some of them and let them know what I'm about and find out what they're about. And I'm like I said, I'm very excited to get back to school because I think I'm heading down full time on August 15th. I'll be down there full time. So,
You think you're gonna have to deal with any sort of recruiting down there too? For the school.
hopefully, I mean, I know a lot of the kids within New England. I'll have to start doing more research on like the New Yorks and the New Jerseys of the world. But our other graduate assistant coach is Joey Parsons. He's from New Jersey, so he knows a lot of those guys down there. And then Jimmy Cation was actually one of my coaches when I was there. He coaches at Empire now.
So you have a lot of New York guys.
Yeah, because we used to swing over there when we were in Springfield because it's that funny that like that's close. Empire is pretty close. But yeah, we have people everywhere for a small school. I don't think people realize, like, when you graduate from Springfield, you are going to run into people all over the place, and like the Doug Parkers of the world, and George Bossy, and like, I mean, some of the coming up here on the 27th, we're having an alumni gathering, and Jeff Blatnick's Olympic gold medal is going to be there, so that's going to be cool. But yeah, there's been some pretty incredible wrestlers wrestle for Springfield, and we're hoping to continue that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Ryan, is there anything else you'd like to add on or touch upon?
Nope, not necessarily. One thing I hope to see change in wrestling, and this is something that I've kind of been pushing a little bit up here, is I don't know how it would work, but they've been talking about it on Flow a little bit recently too. And mat side weigh-ins for youth wrestling. Do not wait until you are in high school at the earliest. I think that was my downfall. It wasn't my parents or anything. That was what everyone did. If you were 75, you went to 70, if not lower. Like, that's what everyone did. I don't know how that would work, like, and function, but like, do not cut weight before you were in high school. There is not a college coach that is going to be like, ooh, he
knows how to cut weight.
You want a middle school tournament. Like, stop cutting weight. I think that's what destroyed not destroyed my body, but yeah, I got no labrums. I've had my knee done twice. Like, stop cutting weight, like I said, until you get to high school at the earliest. That is the one thing that I hope I see change in my time as a coach, is that parents understand that it's like okay to go to the big tournament still and like take third or fourth instead of cutting 10 pounds when you're 80 to 70.
Making your life a living hell.
You know, like, yeah, the trophy is really big, but to be honest, like, I don't have it. I had to dig out my like New England plaque to like bring it into the wrestling room to like show the guys the week before New England's for motivation. That would be like the one big thing. If I could see that change, I would love to see that change.
Yeah, I agree. It's not good for the sport at all. You don't need kids starving themselves to make a weight class.